All right, welcome everybody. We're back with 8-minute webinars. This time we are meeting with C.H. Robinson and Megan Kirk. Thank you for joining us, Megan.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. So just to get started, tell us about your role, a little bit about what C.H. Robinson, tell us about your role, where you went to school, just to keep it topical, and tell us a little bit about C.H. Robinson.
Sounds good. So I am a talent acquisition supervisor here, and I oversee hiring for our technology department for North America. And I went to the University of Arizona, go Wildcats. And C.H. Robinson is a global provider of supply chain and logistics services.
Where can candidates go to find entry-level roles and internship roles? And if it's different, you can speak to that.
Yeah, for sure. So you can go to jobs.chrobinson.com, and we will label them very specifically with the start date. For entry-level recruiting, we go on the campus in the fall and the spring, pretty consistent with graduation. And so we will indicate when that start date is. So if it does not have a start date, it is likely a more experienced hire. So we hire specifically for software engineer and machine learning engineer. So if you look for those two, and there'll be a date next to it, but you can also set a job alert or just software engineer. And when you see one come through that has a date on it, you'll know that that is consistent with an entry level.
And do you have internships?
We do, yep. So that will be in the job title itself. It will say software engineer intern, summer of 2021. So if you want to put software engineer and intern in the job alert, you'll be notified as soon as those get posted.
Great. And which locations do you hire for both internship and entry level?
Yep. So for North America, they're all in Eden Prairie, Minnesota, which is just about 20 minutes outside of Minneapolis. That's where our global headquarters are and our largest technology presence.
Just to be clear, this is specifically for engineering.
It is. Yep. That's the group that my team oversees the hiring for. We also do hire entry-level individuals into a lot of sales and operations positions, and that's around the globe. So when I'm talking about the Twin Cities specifically, it's for our entry-level software engineering and internship.
Okay, wonderful. Tell us a little bit about the interview process. I suppose for engineering, it's probably a little different than for other entry-level and internship roles, but specifically for what you oversee.
Yeah, for sure. This year, a little bit of TBD. We're still working on what that's going to look like, what the technology is, what our university partnerships are going to help us with. But in other years, it starts with a interview with one of our recruiters. It's about 30 minutes, high-level introduction with a couple technical questions. And then from there, you would typically come on site and meet with about 6 different people in 3 different rounds, where we've got 3 specific topics that we discuss with our interviewers. And one person is responsible for assessing their technical ability during that topic, and one person is responsible for assessing a couple soft skills during that topic. And it's about 3 hours.
Okay, great. So let's jump to the resume. Typically, what's the first thing you look for on a resume?
So typically for entry level, I'm typically looking for their graduation date and their university, I think, and also where they're potentially originally from, especially because we're in the upper Midwest. We tend to recruit a lot from this area. We've seen it can sometimes be challenging to acclimate if you're not from the upper Midwest. And so we're typically looking for people that are local, and then we will go outside of that if people have specific interest in relocating there. So we do like to know if for some reason you are targeting the Twin Cities, because that will alert us to, okay, yes, this person is very interested in the Minneapolis area.
Is GPA important for you?
It's definitely something that we look at. I always encourage individuals to put it on there. I don't by any means, we don't have like a, you've got to have a 3.5 or above for us to consider you, but it is something that we do look at. And I do think it's important to include it.
And what about objectives? Is that something that you find relevant still?
Personally, I don't spend a lot of time reviewing individuals' objectives, and unless it has something specifically to do with a passion for supply chain, which is our industry. But then again, like we'll likely dig into that on the phone interview anyway. And so because that part of your resume is such an important part of real estate there, I almost like to just jump right into either internships or class projects and really get down into relevant information.
You know, something that can just support the resume, I suppose.
Yeah.
What about a cover letter?
So for entry level, I'm not big on it personally. I do think where cover letters really are impactful is if you are a more experienced individual and there's been maybe gaps in your employment history, even recently, to just discuss like what have you done during this gap to keep your skills fresh, to stay busy and relevant. So that's where I really see a cover letter being necessary, not necessarily for entry level.
Got it. And in terms of the actual on-site interview, what is it a little bit more traditional in that it's nice if people wear business attire versus business casual?
You know, we're fine with business casual, I would say. Probably not jeans for the interview. For our day-to-day, it is extremely casual. The building I work in is our technology building, and so everyone is quite casual. But for an interview, we do like to see individuals come at least business casual. We don't really feel the need for a suit and a tie, but for sure, no jeans, nice button down works for us.
What are your thoughts on candidates reaching out to either you or maybe hiring managers or other folks on the team through LinkedIn, or just if they find your email and reach out to you outside of the typical job application process?
So I don't think it happens enough, to be honest. I'm really open to it, and it's probably because it only happens a couple of times a year that entry-level individuals, it's definitely more prevalent when we're talking experienced hires, but I think it's a way to differentiate yourself. I think there are so many applicants out there, and I think you should definitely be choosy when it comes to who and when you're reaching out. Don't be doing huge blasts, but if there's a company you're super passionate about and really interested in, I think you kind of have to think outside the box sometimes when there's hundreds, if not thousands, of applicants coming through.
One quick question on the resume. Do you like to see it just a standard formatted resume, by the way, or do you get a little excited if someone comes in with something designed better?
I mean, if it's for, let's say, a UX designer or a more creative position, sure, love to see the creativity shine through. Software engineering, computer science undergrads, I'm cool with straightforward, standard, easy to find things. I know where I'm looking. There's a lot of applicants, so it makes it easier. If it does stand out, neither here nor there, I just don't think it's 100% necessary for anything besides a creative role.
Any suggestions on what candidates should not do?
In the interview process itself, I mean, for us, we are really big on collaboration and not having arrogance in our culture. And so no matter how good of a programmer you are and how great you answer the technical questions, if we get any sense that you are not going to be a great team fit and add to our collaborative culture, it won't work out. So just being sure that you really check any arrogance at the door.
Megan, that's it for me. Thank you so much for joining us for this 8-minute webinar. I'm sure everyone will be pretty thrilled and grateful that you took the time to share that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.